It's Nikki. Welcome back. This is part 7 and 8 of the 10-step experience framework. You know what I mean. Today we are diving into some fun stuff. And as always, if I can help you further, do go and explore my website, nikkiroby.com. And you can go to the freebie house. I can work with you one-on-one. You can look at more goal setting things. Have a good look round, because I very much work in a holistic way. That's why I offer lots of different services, because I think really taking your idea, becoming a personal brand, having autonomy over your life and your business, it takes all kinds of work. And I can meet you at every step of the circle. So nikkiroby.com and check it out. Let's get to know each other. Right, number 7. What's it all for? What is it all for? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you want what you want? And so many people would say it's easier to say the same. And it is. It's easy to stay comfortable. So I'm just going to move that there. It's easier to stay comfortable. It's easier to stay in your comfort zone and doing the things that you're familiar with or that you've always done. But I know after a while, I start to get that niggle. And sometimes that niggle shows up in many different ways. And that could be me getting frustrated. And this is not something nice to admit. But sometimes I might see somebody who has got less experience, less skill. Again, I'm being really honest here. Less skill, less talent, less credentials, doing something or being something that I want to be. And for me, that negative feeling doesn't last very long. Like, I'm not going to kind of really think about that person or wish them bad thoughts, not in the slightest. But it usually brings something up in me of like, why are you not doing that? And it's always about me. It's always about comparing myself to what I know that I'm capable of. It's not about saying you want to take the opportunity from somebody else. It's about being in the conversation, doing the thing as well. And I think it's a really important part of this process to really ask yourself these big questions, like, what is your purpose? Why are you doing what you want to do? Because otherwise, what's the point? Like, just do the thing, just carry on as you are. And when I'm doing this exercise, I usually, I go big and then I go small. It's like one of those sort of, what are they called? They're like these springy things. And I feel like I'm playing around with that. So a couple of things that I've written down. I really want more holidays. I would love to travel more. And because I went to drama school and then I was kind of acting and still continue to do so, I didn't really do that traveling thing. And there's so many places that I would love to travel to, that I would love to take my children to. And holidays for me are just the best. I get really excited, even though our taxi came this year at 4:30 in the morning. I've got a picture of the children like ready to go with their rucksacks on. It just fills me with so much joy. Another thing that I want to do is I want to have a pink little bathroom. So our little bathroom is really, really tiny. It's literally got a tiny sink and a toilet in. And I really had this idea that I'd like to paint it pink. When I say maybe me, Matty. Paint it pink and have the children's artwork all over it. And really make it a fun place where you always see something new. And I love that when I go to other people's houses, where you see a part of who they are and their story, and a picture that you've maybe not seen before. And I am really noticing that throughout our house. Like, lots of the walls we painted, we got some new furniture, and now I really want to bring that personalization. I want to surround ourselves with things that we love. I also want to do some upgrades as well. There are some things in my life that have needed to be upgraded, because there's been times where I've just been growing my business, or I've just been making the money that I've needed to make, and I haven't really been thinking about other things. And I've really enjoyed over the last year or so upgrading my wardrobe, getting rid of things and, decluttering and sending stuff to charity, recycling stuff that just doesn't make me feel good, or it feels outdated, or I wore it when I was 28. So I just don't feel like that's a match anymore at 40. And so starting with those sorts of things of how it's going to enhance your life will really get the juices flowing and bring on that motivation. Another thing that I do is I think about my audience, not even my audience, but that person that I'm talking to. Maybe that's you listening to this right now. I'm always thinking about one person. I'm thinking of, it always makes me cry as well. I'm always thinking about that person who's got a big idea, something they want to do, they've been thinking about for ages, and they know that they are meant to do that thing. And what they need to do is just piece together the pieces of life and business so they can do the things that they're supposed to do. And I always want my work to connect and engage in that way where somebody goes, I really want to do that. I think that I could. And I think maybe it's my time. And maybe I am closer to it than I thought I was. Maybe. And if I'm not, there's going to be a way where I can fill in the gaps and actually do the thing. And I have so many conversations with clients who will, at the end of our sessions, say, I've never told anybody that before. Like, I haven't felt that I could, or I should. And it always just feels such a special moment, because it takes real courage and guts sometimes to do the thing and to show up. And that's why I call my free strategy sessions Declare and Share, because there's a real power, there's a real magic in actually saying, yep, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know where to begin, but there's something inside me that knows that it's time, and it's time to explore. And so I always think about those things, those emotional shifts for my audience, my customer. And I also then think about the ripple effect. So what is my work and their work going to change and create in the world? And I sometimes have the ripple effect of this, where people come back to me after 5-10 years and saying, that thing, it set me on a different path. Or I did leave my job. Or I met a client in the street the other day who lives locally to me, and he said, I can't believe I'm doing the thing that I wrote down 10 years ago. And that just blew my mind, because not only was that a really special moment at the end of it, but I'd watched him not like a weirdo, seeing him every day, but I'd seen that graft. I'd seen those incremental steps, that job promotion, that I got to the next thing, because we kept in touch over the 10 years. And then for him to suddenly see that speed up of I'm actually doing the thing 10 years later, it just blew my mind. And I often think about that ripple effect of what am I paying forward? What am I going to create now that's going to provide a legacy and different choices for my children, for the next generation, for people like me, for people who are different from me? What does that mean? And so spend some time with that first. And I'm starting specifically with that, about the mission, the purpose. And then step 8 is about the money. So how much do you want to make in this next chapter? And again, this next chapter is subjective. You can decide what your time frame is. But I will be very honest with you. I've set a big money goal for this next 3 months. and I know what I want to do with that money. I know that I'm capable of making that because I've done calculations. I've worked out, and this might be a good one for you, the most amount of money that I've ever made in a day, and then times it or divided it. Sorry, the amount of money that I want to make divided by that hourly rate or that day rate, and worked out how many days it would take me to make that. And I can make, like, if I look at the most amount of money I've made in a day, it's so easy. It's an absolute no-brainer. On paper, if somebody said that they made this amount, between here and here, that might seem a lot, but I know what I can do. And so I'm excited to see what that looks like. Another thing I can give you on this is working out what would this mean as your daily rate then. So it will help you to identify how many days at what rate it's going to take to make this amount of money. And of course, you must do your accounting and work out your turnover and profit and expenses and all of that sort of stuff. But start with playing around with those numbers. The other thing is, what do you need to sell in order to make that money? What does that look like? And how can you do that in the simplest, most easiest, ease and flow way? That's what I'm really interested in too. Another final thing that I can do, or share rather, is something that used to happen in the 80s when I used to go dancing. And the ultimate for many of us was to be able to do the splits. And some people could do the splits on both legs, and I just couldn't believe it. Like, what? You could just do that? And we used to do this very dangerous exercise, which would definitely be against health and safety standards now and probably then, whereby you'd get 2 orange plastic chairs, and the person who wanted to learn how to do the splits or work on the splits would stand on them, 1 leg on each. And your dance mates, your classmates, would form a line on either side. And as you were standing there, your classmates would start to pull the chairs apart, and so you would work on that stretch. And some people, like, they just pull the chairs away and they'd be in splits in midair. I mean, it's a bit terrifying now about all the ligament issues that are probably going on. But there was a sense sometimes where you would have to do those increases. Or if you did it regularly, suddenly you might be like, no, you can go a bit further now. You can go a bit further. You knew that you had that capacity. And this is an analogy I use when I'm thinking about increasing prices. So if you're ever in that state of going, gosh, I don't know what would people say that I should increase my prices, but I don't know what I would feel comfortable with. Imagine yourself in that splits position of going through the process and saying, what would 5% look like? A 5% increase. What would a 10% increase feel like? 20, 25, 50, double. What would that feel like in my body? And then play around with bringing it to life. Can you say it aloud? Can you sell it? Do you think there's a market for it? Do you feel an integrity when those words spill out of your mouth? If you don't, that is an indication to come back in a little bit and to work on that core strength, work on that sense of belief and trusting and knowing what you're all about. And then you can start to widen things out a little bit. But it's a really juicy exercise. Finally, I specifically started about with your life, your impact, your mission, because even though everybody's telling you about bills and increases and things like that, you know that you can make money. You know that people want what you have to offer. There will always be a way to make this work for you. But let's get into your life first and foremost, because it's not just about the money. It's about the quality. It's about the purpose. It's about what drives you, because that's going to keep you in the game for longer. That's going to bring your longevity. That's going to bring your fulfillment, your enjoyment of it all. And ultimately, that's what it's all about. If you want to go deeper into this pricing and packaging area, do check out the money section of my website. There is a fantastic course there, pricing and packaging, where you can go through your whole pricing ladder, your income pie. How are you going to make this work? What do you need to do and why? It's really, really juicy. But if you would prefer to do this one-on-one with me, this is what I do in my sessions. So do check them out as well. All right, I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for being with me, for joining me. I am sending lots of love, and I'll catch you again very soon.